There was a time long before the glass and steel skyscrapers when Native Americans camped on the banks of Browder Springs. Back in the early days of John Neely Bryan's village on the Trinity, this was a gathering place where families spent lazy summer afternoons in the city's first public park. But as they say, that was then and this is now. Today, Old City Park is moving forward to its past.
We have a Main Street area with stores, kind of a neighborhood with Victorian homes. We have a church and a school. So in some ways it is a replica of a small town in the late 19th, early 20th century.
Michael Hazel knows a lot about Old City Park. He knows what it was and what it will be again.
The land where we are today at Old City Park was donated to the city in 1876, more than 100 years ago, for a public park. It was called City Park. It was a very popular gathering place around the turn of the century.
Back in the late 19th century, before the days of internet and cable TV, for some, isolation was just a way of life. A trip to your nearest neighbor could be an all-day affair, and news from other areas of the country was sometimes years in coming. Then a new trend swept across the nation's plains and changed all that. Performers and lecturers came to town, and a new world arrived with them. It was called the Chautauqua Movement.
All of the other structures in Old City Park are historic structures which have been moved here and restored. But the only remaining permanent Chautauqua building in Texas is in Waxahachie, and they're not about to give it up. So if we were going to have a Chautauqua Pavilion, we had to recreate one. Theodore Roosevelt called Chautauqua the most American thing in America. It was essentially an adult education movement. There was a great thirst for learning in the late 19th century, and most people had not had opportunities for higher education. They would have music of all sorts. They would even have entertainment, jugglers and yodelers and the like.
Chautauqua was a hit. Thousands of permanent pavilions sprang up around the country, including sites in the Dallas area. Today, the Waxahachie Chautauqua is the only one left in the state. 92-year-old Lorene Lynch remembers it like it was yesterday.
I think I was about 13 years old, and we went to the programs every day, twice a day, one time in the morning and one time in the afternoon. Oh, it was a big thing. That was a big thing to get to come out here and camp and see all the shows. We had a wonderful time.
You have to remember that in the 1920s, radio was first becoming popular, automobiles were proliferating, and life was changing for a great many people. And so by the early 1930s, the Chautauqua movement just folded very quickly.
Most of the old Chautauqua pavilions are gone now. The new structure at Old City Park is the first to be built in almost a century. But it's not just a building they're constructing here. It's a way of life they're hoping to revive. Back to a day when families spent time together, to a time when you could talk and laugh and listen to music and be carefree. Back to a place called Chautauqua.
We hope that it will become a gathering place again, where families, church groups can come for reunions. I think that the new pavilion will likewise be a center for Old City Park, a gathering place.